Take two. I feel like I need to hold the microphone closer to my mouth because I'm so quiet. Hello and welcome back to Milk Stained and Mentally Drained, a place to talk about mental health and motherhood in a real and relatable way. I'm your host, Marie Yarrington, and let's see, I'm here with my pillow again. If you're watching the video, I'm trying to figure out a way to more naturally sit on my couch with my pillow, my microphone. Okay, hopefully we're good. Today's little spiel is going to be just me, obviously. If you're watching, it's only me. And I'm here to talk about insecurities. Let's see. I've been having a lot of them lately. I think insecurities is something that we all have as moms, as professionals, as friends, sisters, women in general. I think, unfortunately, a lot of us notice our insecurities at a very young age, and we get through some of them, and we overcome them, and then something else comes our way. Because life is ever-changing, and so our insecurities are ever-changing, as well as our strengths. So I'm not hoping to have this be a womp, 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 we're all insecure, we all suck kind of thing. That is not the goal whatsoever. And I want it to be, again, real and relatable. I have my Starbucks here. If you listened to my last episode, I've been on a mocha raspberry kick, like a chocolate covered raspberry, I guess. It's delicious in my opinion. I told a couple people about it and they said it sounded disgusting. So either you're going to love it or think it's disgusting. She also wrote on my cup, "Be amazing today." And I really needed to hear that. That was, unfortunately, again, with all these insecurities, that was unfortunately very moving to me. I don't know what that says about me, but I loved it. I'm loving the fact that they are back to putting messages on the cup, writing your name on the cup rather than just the little printed sticker, or at least the Starbuckses around here are. I think my husband said that the new CEO, he wanted it to feel more personal or something. So I think most Starbucks are doing that. It's not just the ones here in Colorado, but maybe. I don't know. I don't know why I just went on a Starbucks tangent. Let's get off that tangent. And onto the tangent about my insecurities. Yes. Okay. Where do I want to begin? I kind of fell into this private practice role of me owning my own business. This was a dream of mine. Do not get me wrong. This is the end goal. I just did not think that I would get it now. I thought I would be in private practice 40s, 50s, maybe years from now. I kind of figured that is where I would end up. And again, the end goal. And now that I'm here, I'm realizing this is so much harder than I realized. I'm feeling insecure about myself as a mom and myself as a business owner, myself as a therapist. I'm feeling insecure as a friend at times, which is new for me. I've definitely had friendships come in and out of my life, and I have always just treasured friendship, I guess. And I'm now in a season of kind of keeping my circle small, and that's different for me. I am just feeling insecure in a lot of areas of my life, and so insecurity is brewing. That is what this is all about. And so, oh yeah. Oh my gosh, why does anybody want to listen to me? I'm all over the place. Do I have ADHD? I have questioned that. Okay, back it up. Becoming a private practice therapist kind of fell into my lap. When my daughters were discharged from the NICU, or my second daughter, they were discharged like a month and a half, 2 months apart. And I will eventually do a whole long story time on that. I would love for my husband to be a part of that though, because it is our story and I don't want to share too much of his side of it. And I really want to talk through that with him to figure out what is our story versus our girls' stories. And so I don't ever want to I don't know, overshare, I guess. And I want it, again, to be real and relatable. So I just haven't told our full story yet because I feel very protective of that, protective of our story, protective of my heart, protective of my girl's story. So I've said very brief, just like blanket statements about their story. So when they came home, though, there was a lot of appointments that need to be made. I wanted to be at most of them. The first year that they were home, we had other hospitalizations outside of the NICU. We were back in a few times, either to the emergency room or getting admitted. We were just, it felt like at Children's Hospital all the time. We still feel that way. And I'm like, no, I look back at that first year, they're not nearly as much these days. And I realized very quickly that I was not going to be able to make their appointments given the position that I was in. I actually was working at Children's when they were still in the NICU. It was getting really hard to go and support other families that were in the hospital for other reasons, seeing other traumatic things that were happening. And then at this time I went back to work and they were still in the NICU. So then I would be like working on the 8th floor and then I'd come down to the 4th floor and I'd be like pumping and like visiting my baby on my break. And then I'd go back and see other families. It was a lot. It was really heavy on my heart. And I went to my supervisor and I just said, I need to give my 2 weeks. And oh my gosh, this woman, bless her heart, she had very preemie babies. She had twins, like very preemie twins, I think like 15 years prior at Children's. And she was like, I get it, you're done today. So blessing in disguise, that pushed me to then look at a group practice position. And I hate this part of the story, but I was only there for maybe 2 or 3 months. It was an amazing position. I loved it. And I still couldn't meet all of the appointment needs in the way that I wanted to. And in walked private practice. I still needed to make money in some fashion. And so my husband and I talked about it and I took a leap of faith and here I am. And that first year was a lot of grinding. And then I got pregnant and I went on maternity leave. And now I've been back again for 3 or 4 months. And in a lot of ways, I feel like I'm starting over again. And so in breeds insecurity as 1, a therapist, 2, a business owner, I guess, and being able to market myself and do my own billing and keep my books in a certain order for taxes. And oh my goodness, filing quarterly taxes. Like, what was I thinking? That's what has come up for me. So there's insecurities in this career part of my life. And then obviously as a mom, I think insecurity, maybe we don't always want to admit it, but it's there, like questioning, am I doing the right thing? Is this truly the quote unquote right way? We just got through some potty training and I am low-key a conspiracy theorist, I've learned when it comes to potty training, but I was questioning, are we doing the right thing? Are we starting too early? Are we starting too late? In a lot of ways, I felt like we were starting too late, but they're delayed. And so just questioning things like that. And then with the baby, oh my gosh, I think because the girls were so delayed that me and my husband have looked at him a couple times and have been like, do we just make delayed children? He seems delayed. So, yeah, when Austin was like, do we just make delayed children? I was like, another insecurity. Here it comes. And then like I briefly touched on friendships and just feeling like I needed to make my circle a little smaller right now, I guess, be more intentional with specific people who mean so much to me. One of those being my best friend. I'm actually flying home soon to see her, and we've had some family stuff going on, and if you listen to our friendship episode, we are friends and family. And so I was in this like minimizing? What is the word for that? In making my circle of friends smaller and more intentional, it was very clear to me and my husband that I needed to go home, not only as a friend, but as a family member. And so that was very important to me. And of course, in walks insecurity from that because I will be bringing the baby with me, but I'll be leaving my older two at home when I fly home. And so is that bad? Am I a bad mom for leaving them behind because they've had such bad anxiety since we were in the hospital? We were in the hospital a couple weeks ago. One of my girls they both had it, RSV, and one of them just needed some extra help. So we were in the hospital for about a week, and she's fine. Everything's fine. But it was a hard week. We were keeping our other two, trying at the time to keep her sister and little brother away to hopefully keep them at bay. They ended up getting it too, but didn't need any medical attention by any means. But there's been a lot of separation anxiety since being back from the hospital. And so when we decided with the family stuff going on that it was just time for me to go home and I could bring the baby with me, in walks insecurity. Am I a bad mom? I'm leaving these two precious little girls behind who have had a lot happen in the last couple weeks with being in the hospital and being poked and prodded and being separated from mommy and daddy for my other girl. My son's so little, he doesn't really know that he was separated, I guess, and he's just very chill, if I'm being honest. Oh my gosh, he's such a blessing. But anyway, in walks insecurity in that way too. And so there's just been a ton of insecurity brewing. And I don't say this whatsoever to make anyone think that, like, oh my gosh, let's protect Marie. If somehow a client finds this, that they have to make sure that I'm okay or something. Absolutely not. I am fine. And I want this podcast to be real and relatable. And I have been talking to a lot of friends lately and my husband lately about insecurity in general and realizing that that's a very real and relatable thing. And so I actually have a list of insecurities that either I have had or friends have brought up to me recently. And I think those are ones that I'm going to share because I want, again, this to be a real and relatable space. Without further ado, here are some, I don't know if unhinged is the right word for it, but just some real and relatable insecurities that we're having. And again, this is not to be womp womp womp. This is to say, if you have had these thoughts or you have felt this way, you are not alone. And as a therapist, I would also be remiss without saying there's hope on the other side, and you can absolutely start to feel better in your insecurities. So here are some of the ones that I have listed. Convincing myself that someone's short text means they're mad. So relatable, so relatable. That, I feel like, is a very common one. And I will be honest, I am the person sending the short text. Absolutely, because I'm balancing 1,000,001 things at a time. I'm not always on my phone, so when I do and I see something that feels more urgent, I'm like, like I just get it out, and that does not always come across intentional or well-meaning, and I hate that. And yeah, don't convince yourself, I mean, easier said than done, but don't convince yourself that just a short text means that somebody is upset with you or they're mad at you, or if they take a long time to respond. My gosh, I try not to, but I will sometimes take a day or two to respond. And that is so that I give it more thought. So that's what's so funny, is if I give a short text, I haven't put enough time in it, but it will be more immediate. And then that might come across that I'm mad or that I'm not happy or something. And then if I wait a day to respond so that I can actually be intentional and put more thought into it, then I feel bad that I am waiting so long to give a response. So there, again, my own insecurity when it comes to my texting. So there's a 2-for-1. You're on the receiving end or you're the one sending the text, and there's insecurity on both things. Another really relatable one. Replaying something you said 48 hours ago and deciding it was cringe. My goodness, the amount of clients, I guess I should say that too. Some of these have come from people in my office telling me to. And if I put them on the list, it's because more than one person has said them. So that is why they're on the list, is because if 2 people are saying them, you are not alone. I want to make that so clear. Okay. One person said, feeling like you talk too much. And then I also heard the same person say that they feel like they don't talk enough, and so now they're boring. Very relatable. Okay, this one I put down for myself. So assuming my twins are behind because somebody else is doing X, Y, and Z. Yeah, yes, my girls are behind Marie. Do you need to feel insecure about it? No, it was not their fault, and it was not your fault that they are so behind. Along with that, though, thinking a pediatrician is judging you. Thankfully, I have not had that happen, but I have had a preemie mom or two say that before, feeling like the pediatrician is judging them. And to that, I will say, if you're in my state, in my area, reach out to me and I will send you my pediatrician, because I've never felt like that with my pediatrician. And I highly doubt that the pediatrician is actually judging you. They're just asking questions and gathering information. Being overwhelmed and feeling like everyone can tell that you're overwhelmed. This is a funny one because did I share this on here? Maybe I just shared this with a client. I was feeling very overwhelmed, okay? I have these 3 little kids. I call them my ducklings. So my 2 little ducklings are following behind me, and I have my baby. And we were going to a mom's group, and this woman said, I just compare myself so much to people who look like they have their life together. And then she looked at me and she said, like you walk in here with all 3 kids and you just seem like you have it all together. And I felt, then I felt insecure because I don't feel that way at all internally. I felt really overwhelmed. I felt as though I was just being misunderstood, or then I felt I try really hard to be genuine and authentic, so then I was feeling insecure that I was putting off some kind of energy where I have it put together, and that felt like unaligned, I guess, with who I really am. So then I had to make it very clear and that I don't have it all together and that I truly am overwhelmed. So it's kind of funny that we either feel like so then the next one that I wrote down too is believing other moms are calmer, more patient, more organized. And I think to that, I'm going to say, whether everybody can tell you're overwhelmed or not, know that other moms are overwhelmed as well, whether they look like that on the outside or not. You are not alone. Everyone is feeling a little bit overwhelmed at one point or another. There's some body and postpartum insecurities that I wrote down too. I want to tread so lightly with these because I do not specialize in body image or eating disorders or disordered eating. So I just want to say, yeah, these are supposed to be light and funny and relatable. They are not supposed to be me saying that if you've had these thoughts that you have a problem, because honestly, I think most moms have had some kind of thought postpartum when it comes to their body. So one of them that I wrote down was thinking everyone notices your stomach when you walk into a room. Feeling personally attacked by high-rise jeans. That was one that someone shared with me that I thought was really funny. Comparing your bounce back to someone else's, whether it's in person, like somebody close to you, or online, and not wanting to see someone that you haven't seen since before pregnancy. That one, when I heard that one felt relatable, because your body changes so much that you think, oh my gosh, they're only gonna focus on how much I've changed or how different I look than before, when my goodness, my hope is that you have so much growth outside of how your body has changed, and you are so much more than your size. My gosh, when I look at my friends, I do not for one minute think about their body and what it looks like. That is not what matters to me. Susie Q is coming over to help me with my kids. I'm not like focusing on how her jeans fit. I'm focusing on the fact that she gave me a hug when she walked through the door. And one last one that's kind of in that category is feeling like you need to lose weight before you deserve new clothes. You birthed a whole human, or 2 in my case, or 3 or 4. You can buy new clothes at any point. You don't have to go back to the body that you were prior and buy new clothes in that body. Buy new clothes in your new body. You can work on getting healthy and getting to a place where you want to be, and then buy new clothes in the future. You deserve it. You have earned it simply by carrying a baby, birthing a baby, potentially breastfeeding a baby if you decided to breastfeed. My gosh, our bodies go through so much. Your body is worthy of new clothes as you are, new clothes that you feel comfortable in now. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox when it comes to that. And I will just share a couple more that I thought were funny. Seeing a group of women laughing and assuming it's about you, which I think is funny if it's women that you don't even know. But there's something that happens, like you see a group of women laughing at the park and you show up with your baby and you're like, oh, are they laughing at me because I'm here alone? No, they're probably just in their own conversation, having a grand old time and not thinking about you at all. But there's something that happens postpartum where we start to, get insecure, get in our head, and our thoughts just spiral, thinking that something is about us when it's not. I mean, the one that I think is very common, and again, I would be remiss without saying, maybe talk to someone, and totally normal, Googling something about your baby and deciding that it's catastrophic. Thankfully, I think we learned really early on, just because of some of the stuff that we went through, not to Google things. But the amount of times I've heard someone say, they went to the pediatrician and they said X, Y, and Z, and I went home and Googled it and I thought my baby was going to die in the next 24 hours. Whatever it is, postpartum makes our thoughts just wild, and we think the absolute worst of the worst, even if the worst of the worst is probably super rare and not going to happen. Okay, comparing yourself. Okay. Sorry, I gotta take a sip of my coffee. I also had RSV, and so if I sound congested, it's because I am. And for whatever it is, for whatever reason, I can just not seem to clear this, what came to me as a cold. Okay, comparing yourself to a stranger's highlight reel and losing. So you automatically see somebody online. You know, I put down strangers highlight reel, but I also am questioning. I think I do this actually more with people that I am close to in real life, and compare myself more to them than I do somebody that I don't know. I think I've said that before. Ultimately, comparing yourself to anyone's highlight reel and thinking that you are losing. That made me think, and I didn't write this down, so maybe my thoughts won't be as collected, but comparing yourself to someone's highlight reel, something that me and my husband have struggled with, or I wouldn't say struggled with, but this was early in marriage, so we would have been pregnant. Yeah, long story short, we are fairly certain we got pregnant on our honeymoon or the week after. So that was not as planned, and greatest blessing ever, but yeah, definitely not as planned whatsoever. So we just entered marriage very quickly, becoming parents, and he was feeling as though my strengths were a representation of a weakness that he had. And so the reason I'm bringing this up is because I think a lot of times we can see a mom who is patient, or who packs the best lunches, or she constantly has her hair done and her makeup looks great. Or we see a mom who goes to the gym so often, and that's a real strength of hers, is that she is really strong and she prioritizes that part of her health. I think we can get into this comparison trap of thinking that that person's strength equates to our weakness, and that's not the case at all. I think we all need to focus on the fact that we all have our own strengths, and that is what is most important. Just because you see another mom on the internet who has a strength in this area over here doesn't mean that you are weak in that area, or that you aren't strong in another area. So I hope that's helpful in some way, because again, my highlight reel thoughts on that aren't exactly like thought out completely, but I do think there's something to be said for the fact that my strengths or someone else's strengths don't equate to my weakness. I guess the last one, I have a couple others, but I am hoping to keep this fairly short. Another one that I will end on, thinking that you can't start something until you're more confident. Well, looky here, Marie. Do you think that one was mine? Yeah. Thinking that I shouldn't keep doing this podcast, that just questioning, why am I even doing this? I don't know if it's even helpful. And at the end of the day, I guess if it helps one person, if one person from any of these episodes, just one person, feels like it helped them, then the mission is complete. This was supposed to be fun. Is supposed to be just a space for me to share, for me to interview other people that I feel like understand the real and relatable nature of motherhood, who are happy to talk about mental health when it comes to motherhood, and do it in a lighthearted way that doesn't have to be so serious, and I'm still doing this. Do I feel confident? No, I just shared a whole episode on insecurity. Do I feel 100% confident in doing this? Absolutely not. And I have just had to really push through the fact that, I might not reach more confident for a really long time. So do I want that to hold me back from something? No. And for me, that looks like this podcast. It looks like me still showing up every day as a therapist, even though I'm having imposter syndrome with the podcast, imposter syndrome on social media, which, shout out, I am having Rachel help me with, so that I don't even have to do it myself because of comparison and insecurity and stuff. So all that to say, I think we can do things in a space where we're feeling not as confident and we are feeling insecure, and that is okay. Maybe for you, it's showing up at a mom group and making other friends. Maybe it's not feeling 100% confident to wear that dress that you have put in the back of your closet. Or maybe it's not 100% confident in asking a friend to coffee. Maybe it's not 100% confident in starting your own podcast or starting a new hobby. Anything like that. Showing up to a gym class, showing up to a new yoga class or Pilates or a strength class. Tonight, my sister-in-law and I are going to Cycle Bar. Wild, but they reached out to me. They DM'd me on Instagram, and I need to make sure it's actually Cycle Bar. Okay, yes. My sister-in-law and I are doing a Cycle Bar class today, and I've never taken a Cycle Bar class. So am I feeling a little insecure about that? Slightly. I'm like, what do I wear? How sweaty am I going to get? I don't know. I think it'll be fun, and I am going to do it anyway. So I think ultimately that is what I want to end on, because this whole episode is about insecurity, and if you are having insecurities, you are not alone. If you are not 100% confident in something, or feeling as though you need to be more confident before you start this project or do this hobby or ask a friend to coffee, whatever it is, I think my one little piece of encouragement or my ask of you is to just consider what it would look like to do it scared, to do it insecure. Just put a little backpack of insecurity on, or a little weighted vest, those are trending, right, of insecurity on, and take it with you and try it anyway. Because as much as these insecurities, they weigh us down like a weighted vest, or they make us feel as though we are not ready to tackle the next thing in life, I don't want them to hold us back. I don't want them to hold me back. And so I don't want them to hold you guys back too, if there's anybody listening who feels insecure. I'm sure there are more things that I could touch on in this, but I think that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please, my goodness, what are the things? Comment, like, subscribe, follow along. I think you can follow. Do all of the things. And I would love if you started commenting or send me a DM. I'm at Where Flowers Bloom on Instagram. And I also think we started a podcast Instagram, and it should be just at Milk Stained and Mentally Drained on Instagram. So send me a DM there, or comment and tell me either what you like, or if there's a topic that you'd love to hear more of. I guess if you genuinely want to hear all of our story when it comes to the NICU and becoming parents and some of the drama that came with that, then maybe it would give me the encouragement to finally share some of that. But I would love to just know what you guys like or don't like. If you want to say what you don't like, could you just DM me so it doesn't feel as scary being a comment? But yeah, I would love to know what people are thinking, and if you could truly just, if you are one of the people that this is helpful to, let me know, because it helps me feel less insecure. No, it helps me feel like I am doing this for a reason, and I would just love to know people's thoughts, genuinely. I hope, really, really hope more than anything, that this feels like you're talking to a friend or listening to a friend, and again, real and relatable. I'm going to start doing this hopefully at the end of every episode if I can remember. But again, if you are a fellow member of the Mentally Drained Moms Club, please just sit with me for a second and let's take a collective deep breath. Okay, Thank you so much for listening, and I hope that you come back soon. Bye.